Welcome. These are the blades of our lives. The figure skating show where I talk to you about figure skating like it is drama for our mamas. On today's episode, we are talking about the 2023 World Figure Skating Championship in Saitama, Japan. But before we get to the skating, we would like to present you a dramatic reading by one Miss Petty Betty. Miss Betty. Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to share the story of one Miss Teamplushenko with you. Ekaterina was born a kind girl, and she grew up to be a kind woman. Ekaterina had just one dream, a dream of a flat rate of 40%. To achieve that dream, Teamplushenko worked hard. Yes, every time Ekaterina snatched a piece of chicken from one of her skaters, it was out of love. Every time Ekaterina smiled at Anna Shebakova as she ate only 3 shrimps, it was out of love. When Teamplushenko told Aljona, Zagideva's mother, "I do not want to see your face until your daughter delivers an Olympic gold medal to me," it was out of love. And when Teamplushenko told Aljona she was born to be a diva Kostanaya, "Get your lazy 2-broken-arm ass on the ice and go skate at Russian National," it was out of love for the 40%. And everything was going well for Teamplushenko. Her hard work was paying off. Her 40% was coming in consistently. She had the podium locked down. 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 skaters, all teamplushenko. The world was at her feet. She had the deals, Puma, Nike, you name it, toothpaste. Everybody wanted a piece of the Teamplushenko little girl product. It was a foregone conclusion that Teamplushenko would be the first, the greatest coach in all of figure skating history who would sweep the podium with gold, silver, and bronze. And everything was going brilliantly. So brilliant that Teamplushenko had so much international television time that she only went to sit in the kiss and cry with winners. If you came in third, she would give your coat over to Danny Gleikenhaus and Sergei Dudikov and send them to go get you. If you were not gold or silver, she did not wish to bother with you. That was the world of Teamplushenko. But it all came tragically crashing down. All because one stupid man could not do the proper chemistry and math in one grandpa's burp water cup. If only this stupid Dr. Shavesky had gotten the potion, the magic, the quotient correctly, the world of Teamplushenko would have been perfect. But instead of the glory, what Teamplushenko ended up with was with a gold medal, who in the first time in ladies' Olympic figure skating history felt nothing at winning a gold medal. She felt depressed. What she ended up with was a silver medalist who had an international broadcast nervous breakdown, and a 4th place finisher, now officially known as that drug person. Poor Teamplushenko. What had she done to deserve this? Nothing. Nothing, Teamplushenko tells you. Nothing. And to make matters worse, the world had an audacity to throw a war into Ekaterina's wrench just when she had a brand new line of product to bring into the international world. The world hit her with a war. And just like that, 40% became harder and harder for Tuberidze. And now we reach today. Today, in order to make her 40%, Tuberidze had to do things she never had to do before. We saw Tuberidze sitting in the kiss and cry with a losing product. A boy who had the audacity to not even make it to the free skate. We will not mention his name. He is not worth it. But poor Tuberidze had to sit there next to him because she has not had any international coverage and she had to get her face on the big screen. And so she had to sit next to him and humanely pat his knees. The horror for Tuberidze. Oh, the horror. But things only got worse because that no good lazy Maurice Vitalashvili with his own jump that is neither a sow nor a toe nor a flip. We don't know. He had the audacity to be in double digit. Oh my God, the disrespect to Tuberidze, who is only used to sitting next to 1, 2, and maybe 3, to now sit in the kiss and cry next to a double digit. But what could Ekaterina do? She needs her 40%. She needs to get her face on the screen. She needs international screen time. And so once again, instead of giving the jacket to Danny G and Sergei, Ekaterina had to carry the jacket herself, put it on, and sit in the kiss and cry and pat his back humanely. But there was a small ray of sunshine in Ekaterina's world. Yes, that is one Daniel Glasso, who at least, out of all the useless boys, was in single digit. He was in 7th place. Ekaterina was so elated that she even hugged him. Imagine Tuberidze hugging a 7th place. Oh, how the mighty has fallen. Poor Tuberidze. But she did what she had to do because the euro is stronger than the Russian dollar. And that 40% has to be deposited. And so she brought herself to the point of hugging Daniel in the short program. And you would think Daniel would be filled with gratitude at a hug from Ekaterina Tuberidze, that he would take his lazy, fat, poor product ass and land his quads and triple and give her a top 5 finish. No, that lazy no good boy again had Ekaterina sitting in the kiss and cry with a double digit. Oh. And once again, Ekaterina had to fake it and speak to him. What can she do? She needs the 40% in the euro. She's got to get paid. But I don't think the world understands how painful this moment is for Ekaterina Tuberidze. But what we do know is when Ekaterina get these lazy, no good product boys back to Russia, there will only be 1 shrimp for them and 2 sips of water every 3 days. This will not happen to Tuberidze again. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is all. Now that Miss Betty has had her say, it is time for us to get to discussing the figure skating, starting with the pairs. I don't want to say I told you guys so, but I told you guys so. I said that right now, pairs was at its weakest. But give these pairs a couple of years. They're going to get used to winning. They're going to get used to being in the podium. They're going to get used to having titles. It's going to make them hungry. It's going to make them ambitious. And before you know it, these pairs are going to start to build. Yes, what we saw at the 2023 Worlds is not at the level of what is going on in Russia. But what we saw at the end of the 2023 for pairs is so far better than what we had at the beginning of the season. For me, this is so much hope. Imagine how much better these pairs will be next year, the following year, the following year. I feel like this rebuilding period is wonderful for pairs. Now, starting right off with number 6, Leah Pereira and Trent Machot. What a debut. What a pairing. I feel like Canada has something special on their hand. A team that has not even been together for a year. A team that is competing at Worlds for the very first time. And for them to finish top 6, that to me is amazing. And honestly speaking, I would have actually put Leah Pereira and Trent Machot ahead. I would have put them ahead of Emily Chen and Spencer Howey. Personally, I would have put them ahead. But way to come and deliver under pressure in a new competition. Then in 5th place, we had Emily Chen and Spencer Howey. Again, beautiful pair, great element, just very inconsistent. All season, they did not clean 2 skate program from the start of the season to the end of the season. I'm hoping the fact that now they are top 5 in the world, this will give them the confidence that they need to start performing clean. Because if they are not performing clean, Leah and Trent will easily pass them next season, no question asked. And then my first heartbreak of the pairs competition was my beloved Diana Stiletto, the Duke, and Maxime Deschamps falling short of that podium finish. They started off so strong this season that I was sure that they would end up on the podium. But, poor Diana has been sick all season, and for them to have this incredible showing, for her to have a top 4 finish, appute her at her first world competition, I still think it's pretty amazing. And I would just be over the moon if Diana and Maxime decided that they were going to stay around and make it to Milan. Our sport, figure skating, desperately need stories like Diana that tell skaters, especially women skaters, that you do not have to retire at 16, at 17, at 18. You can have a rich, long career. You could change from one discipline to another and still thrive. I really wanted to see her on the podium, but I'm so happy for how well they perform. Then we had the Italians, whom I had picked as our dark horse, Sarah Conti and Nicolo Marci. This team had been so consistent all season. Again, they don't have any wow factor, but nothing that's offensive. They get all the elements done and they get them done consistently. And sometimes consistency, when done clean, will beat out complicated and difficult. And this is what this team does. I really hope next season they go to some other choreographers, they work on their packaging, because they have the technical factor down, but the rest of it, not quite. They don't quite look like a world-class medalist team. They really need to work on the packaging so that when they step on the ice, we are like, this is a world medalist team. So that's really what I hope the team focus next season. Better programs, better packaging, same consistency. And then our queen, Alexa Canerum, she did her thing. Her and Brandon Frazier came here and they put up a fight. The short program, not great. But in the long program, they were so much better. And they are coming here with such hardship, such tragedy. Their coach, not able to be here with them, Todd, because of heart surgery. We cannot even begin to imagine what has that has done to them, mentally, spiritually. But they came here and they fought for everything. Again, I have not liked their programs this season. I have not liked their packaging this season. But putting those things aside, they gave it everything they could. Another skater that I'm hoping would stick around for Milan. But I do understand, like Alexa, she's married. She might want to go start a family. But if she could stick around for Milan, another story of showing skaters, women, that they can have longevity in the sport of figure skating. And I'm just a fan of Alexa. If they do decide to stick around next season, please, no more of the spice latte orange or the blood vein gray. Please, Alexa, come to me correct with the dresses. I want to be able to support you. And then, of course, our champion, the amount of pressure they must have been feeling to be on home ice, competing to make history for their country, to be the first Japanese pair to win an Olympic, to win a world's medal. The pressure must have been unbearable. But they did what they had to do. They did what was required of them. Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara came into this competition with a goal, and they delivered. And they are so delightful. They are so heartwarming. Like when they saw that score for the short program before the audience, and Riku just got so excited, the adorableness of it was at a whole other level. They're just such a heartwarming, just charming pair that you cannot help root for them because they are just so adorable. They remind me of Sway and Han. They were just so tiny and cute that you always wanted them to win everything. I am incredibly happy with how pairs played out. There were so many incredible pairs with difficult elements. We had like the young Austrian, the young pair from Australia. They're just coming out of juniors and they had a top 10 at their very first senior world. Then we had the two Germans team, especially Annika Hacker and Robert Canal. I like the look of the team, but both of the German team did well. We had like the third Canadian pair, Brooke McIntosh and Benjamin Menard. They have really good elements. And then you have the new pairing of Ellie Khan and Danny O'Shea. Also, beautiful lifts, beautiful transition, beautiful skating. Throws and jumps, work in progress. But there were just so many teams that I'm interested to see what they do next season, what kind of programs they have, how they grow, how they progress. I understand that, yes, in terms of jumps, in terms of throws, in terms of lift, some of these teams are not quite where the Russian teams are. But I'm asking the figure skating community, give them 3 years. Give them 3 years of intense international competition where they are winning, and then let's see where they are. From pairs, we move on to men's. Men's, beautiful men's. Oh my goodness. This competition made my heart sing. The level of happiness, euphoria that I felt from this competition, I cannot explain. All of my favorites came and they delivered, and I was there for it. Joyous, beautiful, artistic, creative, beautiful skating. And so many people, even if they weren't on the podium, even if they weren't top 10, they ended up having their moment. Like the young men from Israel, Mark Gorodansky, way to skate for his birthday. Way to have two clean program. And it's been a really long time since we've had a man from Israel compete clean. This was wonderful to see. We also had some devastating heartbreak. Sota Yamamoto had been so consistent, so good all season, and to have him crumble under the pressure at home ice, it was just devastating. Yes, he never had the most difficult quads, but what he did have going for him was consistency and clean. He did that quad toe to the very best of his ability, maximizing his GOE. I don't know what happened at this world's competition for him. We know it's definitely not the ability to do the jumps, so it must be the pressure of having to deliver on home ice. Unfortunately, that pressure was just too much for him, and it just wasn't a good outing. Daniel Denis Vasilyev, not a great outing for him. He has done better at World, but he still did two good, mostly clean program. And that quad almost got it. Unfortunately for Daniel Grasso, this was not a great outing for him. In the short, it wasn't so bad. You know, he had an eighth place, but unfortunately, it wasn't so much that he himself made a whole bunch of mistakes in the long. It was simply that there were other skaters there who outskated him, who were much better than him. Another heartbreak for me, but who actually fought as hard as he could, was Adam Seon-Ham-Fa. All season he had been just on an upward trajectory, winning Europeans, nationals. I honestly saw him as a dark horse for that podium, or at the very least a top six finish. However, the short program just got away from him, and the long was much better, but it was still a struggle. But still, a top 10 finish at Worlds is nothing, to laugh at. So I was very happy for him. The Swiss skater continues to impress me. Lucas Buchoy continues to impress me. Lucas Bucci. He continues to impress me with his consistency, with his personality, with his, connection to the audience. This is a skater that's growing into who he wants to be as a skater, what he wants to present to the audience. And I'm here for that journey. And then Keegan Mossing, who is leaving us. Is Keegan really leaving? That short program, I think, was probably the best short program of his career. That quad toe, triple toe, mwah, it was like butter. I feel like Keegan has some of the best ankles in the skating business. When he goes up and he comes down, even if it is a hard come down, those ankles are like, he manages to save it. And when he lands smoothly, the jump has power, it has speed, it travels. That's the kind of quad I want to see. I'm so happy he managed to have two really good outing here and manage. He managed to, end his career, I feel, on his term. I was so happy to see him go out joyous in the same manner that he has always skated. It was a pleasure to see him end his career with the integrity and the joy that he has always skated. I said this before and I'll say this again. I pray that Skate Canada manages to find a way to keep Keegan involved in figure skating, especially in Canadian and in Canadian men skating, because they desperately need it. And if we are saying joyous, we are not getting some of my favorite skaters. Kazuki Tomoto, my inconsistent baby, came through and delivered when it counted. He was joyous, he was musical, he was adorable, and he was technically proficient. Don't be sleeping on my Kazuki. Kazuki came with the quads. He showed you he could be artistic, he could be funny, he could be clever, but don't sleep on him because he will deliver the quads when they count. And he did so at home. Again, the pressure that he must have been under, and for him to deliver a nearly clean, two clean skate. Way to go, Kazuki. And this is a skater that I enjoy watching because you could tell he enjoys skating. He loves what he's doing. And because he loves it, he almost allows us to love it with him. Again, I cannot wait to see what Kazuki has for us next season. And then we come to the two skates of the worlds for me. I'm sorry. I was rewatching these two programs so many times. I feel like YouTube is like, no more free views for you. You're going to have to pay. The one, the only Jason Brown. This, to me, is what skating is about. Quads are nice, but skating, musicality, extension, knee bend, ice glide, spins that are centered and beautiful to look at, a connection with the audience, a performance for the audience, one that welcomes us in, that allows us to be a part of the performance. Everyone has said it, and I will add my 2 cents to it. Jason Brown is a gift to figure skating. Yes, the jumps are important, but what Jason gives us, what Jason does, is equally as important to skating. And for someone like me who is drawn to the aesthetic of Jason Brown, what he does is even more important than the jumps because it fills my soul. Those two programs by Jason Brown, that's what I will show my friends who don't watch figure skating and say, this is what figure skating means to me. Those are the programs that goes into my figure skating playlist, and I watch them over and over and over again. And every time I watch them, they only get better. And the US figure skating had better kiss Jason's boots, his thin blades, because he saved them those 3 spots. Jason Brown got the US 3-man spot. Not that we need 3-man spot, but we managed to retain 3-man spot thanks to Jason Brown. And if Jason Brown wasn't enough of a gift from the figure skating Brown, they gave us the one and only Kevin Amos. Oh my God, how much has poor Kevin Amos struggled these last 2 seasons? Kevin has always had the most inventive, the most creative, the most unique programs, but they always fall short because he's never been able to skate them clean. But at the 2023 Worlds competition, Kevin Amos showed us everything he could do, taking the technical, matching it with the artistry, with the innovative, with the uniqueness that is him. The beauty about your Kevin Brown and your Kevin Amos, oh my God, I just merged them together, Kevin Brown. The beauty about your Kevin Amos and your Jason Brown is that the programs they give to us, no other skater will ever be able to perform. They are uniquely theirs. And to see the joy both Jason and his coach and Kevin and his coach had in the Kiss and Cry, you see how much of themselves they pour into their art. This is love. And to see Kevin get 2 clean performances to end his season, I am just in awe to imagine what he will be like when he has a full, healthy season. I light all of the Dollar Tree, $1.25 tree candles for Jason Brown to come back next season and for Kevin Amos to be healthy next season. Those, honestly, for me, Kevin and Jason, mwah. Then we had like Ilya. So now we get to our podium. So our first medalist was Ilya Melnin. Great jumps, really great jumps. The quad, we have seen him land better quad axel, but still first quad axel to ever be landed in a world competition. Congratulations. I feel like I don't want you guys to think I don't like Ilya Melnin. Because, first of all, he's just a 17-year-old, and I do like Ilya. And I feel like that is the problem. Because I like Ilya, because he has charisma, because he has talent, because the potential is there, Ilya really could be. He could be the star that the U.S. is so thirsty for. He could be the star that the ISU desperately want. But they themselves, the US figure skating and the ISU, are limiting him because they are rewarding his jumps, whether they're under rotated, whether they're pre-rotated, whether they're bad edges, because they're rewarding him for having no, transition, no skating in between. There's very little motivation for him to become the well-rounded star that we know he could be, that he has the capability of becoming. And to me, that's why it hurts. Because if this was just another skater that could jump, whatever. He's a jumper. Go do your jump. We'll wrap it up. But Ilya has the talent to be so much more. And to watch it just not be nurtured the way it needs to be is really sad. So he did all the jumps. It was a great program. Is it going to be one of the programs that I go back to rewatch? No. I'll watch a TikTok 20-second video of the quads, but I'm not rewatching the program. Again, not because I don't like Ilya, but because there is no program to watch. But I'm very happy for him. He got his first world medal, probably many, many more medals to come. I really hope that now they go back and they put as much emphasis and effort into the skating of his skating as they do in the jumping of his skating. And then my cha baby, cha baby, John Junhwa Cha. Oh, finally my baby has a break at Worlds. Such a difficult season for Cha. The ups, the downs, him not making the Grand Prix final, him not being able to defend his medal, his title at 4 continent. And then finally he comes to World in mind-blowing. Those 2 programs of his, literally mind-blowing. There are 3 programs from Worlds that went immediately into my figure skating playlist that I will be rewatching over and over and over again. And those 3 programs are Jason Brown, Kevin Amos, and Junhwa Cha. Oh my God. I've said this and I'll continue to say it. Junhwa had 2 of the best programs this season, and he chose the best moment to lay them down with everything he had. When he went into that quad sow, like Miss Belinda said, what more could we ask for? Nothing. We couldn't ask for nothing, because Cha gave it all to us. Entry into the jump, exit out of the jump, ice coverage, flow, height, depth. This is what you call a quad. If you're going to do a quad, do a quad. Cha gave this a quad. It was beautiful. And he didn't just give you a quad. He gave you a triple axel. He gave you edge. He gave you glide. He gave you musicality. When he went up in the air, he ended back down on the beat. He gave you everything you could have asked for and more. As Miss Belinda said, we can ask for nothing, because Cha gave us everything. And to see the judges reward it, to see the marriage of the technical and the artistry come together so beautifully, and then to have the ISU says, this is what we want, and to reward it accordingly. For the first time, I'm like, maybe there is hope for figure skating. Maybe figure skating will move in the right direction. I had so much joy in watching this man's competition. It was a thing of beauty. I cannot remember the last time I enjoyed a men's competition the way I enjoyed this one. The artistry, the depth, the edge, the originality. Mwah! My Cha baby came and he delivered. And I pray that Brian and Tracy continue to guide him down this path of the marriage of the artistic and the technical, and that we get more programs like this. My skating soul was satisfied beyond anything I could have imagined. Thank you. But the night wasn't over. Our golden boy, the one who managed to do what no one has done in history, which is not no one in history, what no Japanese male skater has done in history, which is defend a world title. That is right. Our little beloved Shoma Uno is a two-time Japanese world champion. It wasn't perfect. He has yet to skate that free skate perfect. I have hope that in the World Team Trophy, it won't be so pressure filled on him that we will get to see that free skate perfectly, and I could just put it into my skating, playlist. It was not perfect, but he fought. If you remember Shomo a couple of years ago, how devastated he looked, how broken he looked. And when you see Shomo now, it gladdens my heart. It feeds my spirit. I'm so happy that Lambiel took him in, mend him back together, and gave him back to us whole. Even though he's still a work in progress, he has come so far from the broken little boy we saw a few years ago, sitting by himself in the kiss and cry, looking like he wanted to cry, to the Shoma that we saw at World, composed, in control of himself. This is no longer the wild, crazy child that we all love. The wildness is still there, but now there is a refinement to it. There is a finesse to it. It was just beautiful. Lambiel saw a diamond and he just polished it a little, and now it just gleams. And I'm so happy for Shomo. And again, I am only trying to imagine, what are these male skaters, if they are healthy and they are around for Milan and in like a couple of more years from now, what will they look like? Now I'm invested. Now I'm happy. And also, not to forget, also Matteo Rizzo from Italy. Woohoo! Another one of my favorite skaters. Guys, there was just so many skaters who had moments, who were favorites, who came and who fought. And I was just so happy to see it, and so many beautiful programs now permanently in my figure skating playlist. The men, they gave me everything I wanted and everything I didn't even know I wanted. Honestly speaking, the only discipline that left me feeling disappointed was ice dance. And even that, the disappointment was within an understandable range, because I feel like figure skating is very politically inclined, but no discipline is more politically inclined than ice dance. And I feel like what we saw at this competition in the ice dance was pure politics. But at the same time, there were just so many couples that did just amazing, amazing things. You guys know I had asked the one and only Miss Zueva, Marina Zueva, to try to get Kana Maramoto and Daisuke Takahashi into the top 10 so Japan could have two spots. She got close. In that rhythm dance, if only they had been a little less shaky. And I understand, again, the pressure of being at home, of competing on home ice, trying to get two spots for Japan, trying to make history, must have been so overwhelming. So I understand why they were so nervous in the rhythm dance, which placed them in 11th place. But they came back fighting in that free dance. They did that Phantom of the Opera like they have not done it all season. There was no mistake, no error. They hit all their cues. Daisuke's knees, they were firmly in place. I would have put them in 10th place. Honestly, I would have given them that 10th place finish. I've just felt like this is just a personal preference. I would have put Daisuke and Kana in 10th place if I was on that judging panel. And they did. They were in 10th place in the free. It was just that rhythm dance. They were just a little bit short. But what people have to understand is what Daisuke means to figure skating. I'm always telling you guys this. I am first and foremost a fan of figure skating. Anything that will advance the sport, that will progress the sport, I am for. And Daisuke will advance the sport. Any skater who is looking at Daisuke, a top male skater. Daisuke is a world medalist, Olympic medalist in pair. Daisuke did quads. He had the full arsenal of spin, steps, jumps, artistry, musicality, personality. Daisuke was a skater. And for him to go from being a world-class male skater to being an ice dancer. How many skaters are in a discipline where they're struggling right now and they're thinking about leaving the sport, are looking at Daisuke and they're like, let me give this another chance in another discipline. We need every skater we can to be invested in the sport because the sport is dying. And what Daisuke does, what Daisuke represents is rejuvenation, it's joy, it's interest being brought back to the sport. And if giving him a 10th place finish is what needs to be paid, I'm okay with paying it. I feel like I want Daisuke to stay for Milan. Can you imagine what it will mean for Daisuke to compete in Milan? We wanted him in Beijing. It did not happen. But could you imagine having Daisuke in Milan? What it will mean? How many single skaters are now probably thinking about ice dance or now probably thinking about pairs? Japan has always been strong in men and women. Now they have a really good pairs program. If they add a really good ice dance program, they could dominate, and we need Japan to become a center of all four disciplines so that the sport can grow and regain its popularity. That's what Daisuke represents. That is why I'm like, Maria Zueva, dig up whatever bodies you know where you buried them and do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Dig up them bodies and get us a 10th place finish at World for Daisuke and Kana. Love them here. Would have had them 10th, but we'll see what happened next year. The pairs that was in 10th is Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko. For me, they're the 4th place, maybe 5th place pair in the US right now. There's nothing wrong with this pair. Elements, fine. Matching, fine. I feel like Christina is the stronger of the two, but there's nothing inherently wrong about this team. There's nothing inherently wow about this team either. They are a young junior team transitioning to seniors. That's what they are, and that's what they look like. That doesn't mean they don't have the potential to be a top team in the future. We will just have to wait and see. Hopefully they'll get really good materials next season, and we'll see what happens from there. I'm personally not going to write them off because you never know. In 9th place, and I had this team like all the way up like top 4, top 6, but they did not have a good outing here, is the Finnish team, Julia Tukila and Matthias Velus. This is a very nice looking team. They're very elegant. Their lines match very well. They're very soft, very musical. When they hit beautiful pictures, beautiful line. But unfortunately, this was a lot of pressure. This was them going in knowing that they had a minor, tiny outside chance of a medal and a big chance at a top 6 finish. And maybe just the pressure and stress of that got to them a little. But again, they can always come back next season having learned from this experience, being stronger and better. As you guys know, I really like Allison Reed and Salus Ambrovius. And I'm okay with their seventh place finish. I feel like this team is getting into their stride. They're starting to gel together. And I feel like they're only going to grow from here. They're both really good skaters, really tall, really big skaters. They take up a lot of space on the ice. They travel and they cover the ice very well. And I feel like they're only going to get better as time progresses. Now, right over Allison and Salus are Caroline Green and Michael Parson. I like this team so much. I like this team so much. They have such beautiful glide, such nice, deep edges. They're fast. They're well balanced. Their programs were just, ugh, with a capital ugh. I mean, the rhythm dance wasn't so bad, but it wasn't great either. But that free dance, and and it's so disappointing because this team can be original. They can be innovative. They could be cutting edge. They could have been that circle in a basket of square. Instead, their new coaches, their new team, the Whites, decided to make them into another square. And that is just a waste of opportunity. I really hope next season they hire new choreographers, they hire new designers, new packagers, and they really let this team be authentic to who they are, which is unique, which is innovative, which is themselves. Instead of trying to fit themselves in the box, I hope they embrace the fact that they are a circle. Be the circle. Now, this was what upset me the most about this ice dance competition. It was the placement of Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Nikolai Sorenstein. All season, I have been raving about this pair, how beautifully packaged they are, how exquisite their program were. They came here and they delivered two of the best programs of the competition and two of their best performances all season, and the judges decided to bury them. And I don't know why the judges turned against them. I don't know what kind of backdoor deal was made. If there was sacrifice for this placement or that placement, because there is no way I can justify the scores and the placement they got with what they delivered on the ice. If they were sacrificed this season, I hope that Montreal gives them two of the best programs next season and the judges reward them next season, because them being put behind two of the teams that they were put behind in the rhythm dance and in the free dance made absolutely no sense to me. I saw the two performances that Lawrenson and Nikolai gave, and then I saw their score and placement, and I was honestly asking, what kind of drugs are these judges taking? Is Dr. Savorsky somewhere around pumping his Xeon gas? What are these judges on? Because what I saw delivered and the score that I saw given really had nothing to do with each other, and that was incredibly sad. I feel like when stuff like this happen, this is when we question the integrity of the sport. This is when it's no longer a sport. When it becomes this political, when the judges are judging an opposition to what the skaters are doing, we're no longer in a sport. What happened to Lawrencine and Nikolai, quite frankly, just this was another hit to the integrity of figure skating. And I really hope that we come to an era where we don't have to see this anymore. In fourth place, the pewter medal was Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. I want to be joyous for this team because I like this team. They're funny, they're quirky, they're perky. And it's not their fault that the political judging is behind them. They don't get to decide what the judges give them. All they get to do is they get to perform. But skating skill, performance, packaging, program, they obviously were not ahead of Lawrenson and Nikolai. And the fact that they were put ahead of them diminishes my ability to fully, enjoy their fourth place finish, which is not fair, for them. So I hope like next season they've improved so much and the judges fairly judge them based on their skating, so that way they will feel a sense of accomplishment and we can support them in their accomplishment. In third place, and I'm very happy for them, was Piper Gillis and Paul Poirier. At the start of the season, we all were like, just give them the world title, mail them their medal, let us not even bother. By the end of the season, with Piper having to have surgery, they lost all of their momentum, they got derailed, and just being on the podium seemed like it was the goal for them. Honestly speaking, again, I would have had Laurenson and Nikolai ahead of Piper and Paul in the rhythm dance. The rhythm dance for me would have been Madison Chalk and Evan Bass, Charlene Guinard and Michael Fabry, Laurenson, Fournier Boudry, and Nikolai Sorenstein, then Piper and Paul. The judges didn't agree. They put Piper and Paul in third in the rhythm dance. Regardless of how that played out, I'm so happy for Piper and Paul. This is a team that has been original and innovative and interesting and unique for so long, and the judges have never gone with them. Of course, they don't have some of the speed, they don't have some of the edges, they don't have some of the depths, some of the lifts, some of the spins as the other pairs. But what they do, their uniqueness, their inventiveness, the performance, they do that to the absolute 100%, to the point where it becomes specialized to them. And I always felt like they should have been rewarded more for that, and they never were. And so I'm so happy to see them finally being consistently on the podium at World. I hope next season, I hope they decide to stay around for next season, because World is in Canada. If ever they have a chance of winning that world title, I feel like next year will be that chance, with them being at home in Canada. So if they can, if it is within their capability, I hope they decide to stay around next season. Our silver medalists, which, oh my goodness, good for them, are the Italians Charlene Guinard and Michael Fabry. If ever somebody was persistent in fighting, this would be the team. They kept their head down and they worked at it and they worked at it and they worked at it, and it paid off. There is no other team in this competition that has the technical proficiency of the Italian. Their edges are solid, their knee bend solid, their speed consistent. That's just the name of their game, consistent. Their programs, I think I've said enough about that this entire season. No need to bring it up. Let us just talk about the positive. The joy that they felt at having won a silver medal at World radiated from their skin. It's just, and Barbara Fusapoli, their coach, you could tell how invested she is in them as human being, as well as being their coach. It was beautiful to see, because this pair has been around forever, slowly making their way up the ladder until they finally got in the podium with a silver medal. So that's a European gold medal and a world silver medal for them. And I'm so happy. And I do believe they want to stay around for 2026 Milan. That's their goal. And I hope that their performance, their packaging, their program, Barbara, feel free to hire outside of your circle, continues to grow along with their technical proficiency. Now for our winners, Madam Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. Now, I know a lot of people are like, how could they possibly win with a fall? Every single discipline winner literally won with a fall. Like pairs, yes, there was a fall. Men a fall, women a fall. Every single discipline at this World, the winners did not have perfect performances. So I just want to say that. So this wasn't unique to like ice dance or Madison Chalk and Evan Bate. Every discipline, somebody took a fall. The other thing I want to say is Madison and Evan didn't take a fall on an element. Yes, they took a fall and that did disrupt the program, but it was like a very fast fall and it wasn't on an element. Their overall, rhythm dance and free dance, I can understand why they won. Because realistically, had the Canadians not lost their momentum, or had they come here and they, because you could tell the Canadians, they were a little slower, they were a little more tentative, they were a little more stressed. You could feel it. They were not having the performance that they had at the Grand Prix. Had the Canadians came and they had the performance they had in the Grand Prix, and then Madison had a fall, then yes, all hell would have broken loose. But because the Canadians were tentative and slow, and because Michael Fabry and Charlene Gannard do not have the programs, I understood why the judges gave it to Madison Chalk and Evan Bate, because there was no one else there to give it to. No one else that was pre-programmed in to give it to. I will agree with a lot of people on Twitter that this was a farewell gift for Madison Chalk and Evan Bate. I feel like if they are going to remain, and I do hope they remain because I do want skaters to have longevity in their career. I feel like if they are going to remain, they're going to have to come with two of the best programs they have ever had in their life next season, and they're going to have to deliver those programs to the best of their ability, because the judges in ISU, and they're not going to roll out the red carpet for them next season. They are looking for young blood, fresh blood, new blood, and they will bury Madison and Evan if they do not come correct next season. I feel like this was their thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for being consistently there. Here's your gold medal. Goodbye. But if you decide to stay around, you better come correct. I feel like this is what this medal meant to Madison Chalk and Evan Bate. All in all, I would say that the ice dance was the discipline that I was the least satisfied with. It was the one that left the worst taste in my mouth. And then we came to the discipline that always gives us the drama for our mama, the women. And oh my God, this women's world championship had the highs of highs and the lows of lows. 1 minute I was euphorically cheering, the other I was ready to cry. This thing had me on an emotional roller coaster that if I was watching it out in public, they probably would have put me in a straight jacket. Starting with the lows of lows, it would have to be poor Yalen Kim. Yalen started off this season so strong, so very strong. We all honestly thought that she would be a medal contender. But I do not know what happened. At four continent, it was a little shaky, but she pulled it back together for the silver. But at Worlds, I don't know if it was exhaustion, if she competed one too many times, if it was because she was so close to the podium she knew it, if the pressure of finally being one of the elite of the elite of the world got to her. But the short program was an implosion, and the long program was a disaster. The spirit just left her body. You saw that she just, at one point, she wasn't fighting anymore. She just gave in. And that is always so sad to see a skater give in instead of fighting. I hope that this is a learning experience for her, that she shakes it off and comes back stronger next season. I hope this doesn't become like that crippling outing that defined her career. Because for me, Yellen has some of the most beautiful triple jumps in the business. She has true triples, triples done on the right edge, triples done with height, triples done with full rotation, triples done with speed. And it would be a great loss to this sport if she cannot overcome this barrier. Then we had like this moment of shared joy. Laura Naki Goodman, the Italian from 23rd to 13th. I guess Laura must have heard that the Italian Skating Federation was trying to get their hand on a Russian, on Maya Kromek to be exact. And Laura was like, I don't think so. She had the performance of her life. She was giving us everything. These are the kind of these are the kind of performances that you love to see, and she's determined to be around for 2026 because it's gonna be in Milan, and she wants to represent her country, and she is fighting, and I love to see that. Poor Ekaterina Karakova. We love her. She is a fan favorite. But her jumps are under rotated, pre-rotated, just no height. Performance wise, adorable. She plays with the audience. She plays with the judges. She's giving it all. But the jumps, oh my goodness. No height, no speed, no coverage. They're tiny, they're pre-rotated, they're under-rotated. And I feel for her because the judges had all season to bang her, and they waited until World to teach her a very, very hard lesson. I hope she comes with a more mature package with better jumps, but she keeps the performance, she keeps her personality, because all of that is just delightful. So Brady Tennell, as to be expected. I feel like the judges were very generous to her in the short program. Some of these jumps, those colors were very generous in the short program. Came the free program, not so generous. So her 15th place finish is about what I expected. When you looked at the field and who was going to compete, it's about what I expected. Another heartbreak was Anastasia Gabanova, another skater that gave up on that free program. She really, first of all season I've been saying you cannot have flavorless Bollywood. I love Bollywood movies. They're spicy, they're colorful, they're beautiful. For you to have a flavorless Bollywood is just, I don't even know what to say. But regardless of that, her flavorless Bollywood number, she gave up on that free program. The fight that we saw at European was just not there. Again, another skater that has beautiful jump technique is just for some reason she couldn't find it at this competition. Another skater that I hope she puts this competition behind her, she pulls herself back together, and then she comes back even better next season. And then there was Amber Glenn. This to me was two really good outings for Amber Glenn. If you really look at what she's done all season, this was two of her better outing. Amber Glenn is such a unique skater, and I feel like the fans and the judges would get behind her if she would get behind herself. If Amber would be like, I'm gonna do it, we, the audience, the judges would be like, here you go, Amber. Here's a world medal. Here's a national title. But again, we cannot do it for her. Amber has to do it for herself. And then, Rinka, all season I've been telling this girl, don't do that triple axel in the short program. Do not do that triple axel in the short program. Play it safe, build yourself, and then do that triple axel in the long program. But all season she's been doing it in the short program, and all season she's been getting buried. And this was no exception. Triple axel failed her in the short program. She got buried, and then she had to fight back in the long program with a 7th place finish. I really hope she either gets that triple axel or she learns to do a double axel in the short program, because her being buried in the short program and having to fight back in the long program is becoming a little tedious. Then Kemi Rapon, the Swiss, continues her trajectory up. Really nice, consistent skater. Jumps are really fast, really rotated, not a lot of height, not a lot of speed, not a lot of ice coverage, but she brings her arm really tight to her body. She snaps and she goes into the air. I'm waiting for her to fully go to puberty because I want to see what happens if she'll be able to retain her jumps after puberty, but she could become a lovely skater. She has beautiful long arm, beautiful long limb. When those limbs fill out and she does a jump with full power and speed, I think it could be quite beautiful. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then let's hear it for the ladies, the mature women. Nicole Short, a 7th place finish at Worlds. This is what I want to see. I want to see this sport telling skaters, women skaters, little girl, young women skaters, there is longevity. You can grow. Because if we remember Nicole a few years ago, she was rough. She was rough. But look at her now, because she was competing for a country where she had the time to grow, the space to mature. Look at what we now have. We have a woman who understands her body, who understands skating, who skates with a level of maturity, a level of understanding that you can only get because of the ups and downs that come with time and age. So happy with both of her performance and so happy with what she represents. From the mature to the young, Cheon Kim, the young Korean. The short was the first time that I've seen her fall in the short all season. But what a fighter! What a fighter at such a young age. For her to come from 12th place to 3rd place, to have the frame of mind to shake off the short program and then come back in the long program and be like, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna fight. Again, she's a tiny, petite little thing. There is not much height to her jump. But even though she's tiny, she has a lot of power, a lot of speed, a lot of ice coverage. The way she moves is very fast. Packaging, a little rough. But I'm so looking forward to seeing what she has to say as she grows and mature. I want to see her next season. I'm interested. I'm invested. And that's what figure skating for me is about. Investing in skaters and watching them grow from being young skaters to adult skaters to champion. I'm invested in little Kim. Then another heartbreak. My Miyahara, that short program, Mai came and she said, no, I will not be a bridesmaid again. It will be my turn. And I was rooting for her. You guys know I was rooting for Mai. She was my dark horse to take it all. I was rooting for her to come on home ice and deliver. And then when the long program happened, when she failed to deliver, my heart broke for her. I'm so happy she made it to World after so much pain, so much medical, illness, recovering. I feel like her finishing 5th after everything she's gone through is still an incredible accomplishment. But for her to have been on the podium, I feel would have been even better. But again, this is a skater with longevity on her side. We're going to see Mai next year. We might see Mai in Milan. And who's to say that it won't be her turn then? Who's to say she will not be on the podium? And then in 4th place, the pewter was Isabel Levito. 4th place was where I had her. And 4th place was where she ended up, which makes perfect sense. I said this all season, and I will continue to say it until somebody decides to do something about it. What a shame that such a wonderful skater has been taught such an awful jump technique. What a shame that such an exquisite talent is being taught a jump technique that might lead to her being injured. I pray to all the skating gods that the U.S. Figure Skating Union finally get their act together and get a jump specialist and fix this young lady's jump, because Isabel is talented. She is musical. She's got personality on the ice. She's performative. She doesn't hit a bad position. There is an air about her that screams star. But that jump technique screams back wrenching. She literally is hunched over. Her knees is bent. It's bent in a 90 degrees angle, and then her chest is directly over her knees. That is not good for her hip. That is not good for her ankle. That is not good for her back. And for them to not fix that when they have such a potential star on their hand is mind-boggling to me as to what is going on in US figure skating. I pray for the best for this child, and I pray that they send her a jump specialist that's going to fix her jump, because everything else about this skater is just lovely. I know she was disappointed to finish fourth at her first Worlds, but finishing fourth at your first senior Worlds is wonderful accomplishment. Isabel, you did a wonderful job. You handled the pressure remarkably and you delivered remarkably. Please take joy and pride in what you have accomplished and get a jump specialist. Now for our podium. Our bronze medalist, Luna Hendricks. So happy for Luna. So happy for Luna. The pressure that she came in this season with, because everybody expected her to fight one-on-one with Kaori for the gold medal at every competition. Going from being a skater that was like maybe in the top 10 to 6 to being a skater that is a favorite is not easy. I don't think any of us understands the pressure that these skaters were possibly under. And everything she's done this season has been amazing. She has just been fighting the pressure of being an elite athlete and being in a position that she's never been before. Last year when she won her, world silver medalist, she was just coming off the high of the Olympic. There was no expectation of her medaling at World. She just went in there and it just so happened she medaled. Coming into this World, everybody expected her to go for the gold. We cannot understand the stress and the pressure that she was under. But she came and she delivered to the best of her ability. And her brother, and her team, they're all growing together. And I honestly cannot wait to see where they take her next season. And then the silver medalist, the performance of this competition. Honestly, guys, I always expect them to bury my girl Henie. I'm always expecting that tech caller to bury Henie. But Miss Lee came in the short program and she was like, you gonna have to fight hard to bury me. She gave you everything. I thought that short program was the best that she had to give us. But then she came back in the long program and she ate that ice and left no crumbs. Miss Lee left you no crumbs. She was like, if you gonna take me off this podium, you gonna have to come all guns blazing, because I'm gonna put it down. You thought I had something for you at Four Continent? Here I come again. Oh my God. I love it. I love it when a skater you did not expect. When a skater that had a slow start to their season. When a skater you didn't see coming just come and they hit you. And Henie was that skater for me. The first skater since Yuna Kim, Queen Yuna, to come and win a medal for South Korea. I love it. I love to see it, the unexpected, the pleasant surprise. You guys know that's what I love most about figure skating. Miss Hyen was giving you pace. She was giving you Miss D level of pace. Phantom of the Opera pace. And I was here for it. I was here for it. I cannot wait to see what we get next season. And then our winner, the queen, two-time repeating world women's champion, Miss Kaori Sakamoto. When I tell you guys girthy jump, Cowrie is what I'm talking about. That double axel that goes on forever. She goes into it with a and she land with a that is girthy. Girthy jumping. Jump where you have no question that it is a jump. Oh, I love, you guys know what I feel about girthy jump. You know how I feel about the girthy of the jump. And Kaori was giving it to me. I literally said when she first started with the Roheen Ward short and the Marie France long, that her program was skating her. At the beginning of the season, her program was skating her. But I also said that she would settle into the program and that she would start to skate them. By the end, that short program, she owned that short program. Listen, Miss Cowrie was channeling Janet Jackson circa 1996. She was poetic justice, Janet Jackson. She was giving you Miss Jackson. By the end, she had fully embodied that program. The speed, the confidence, the attack. She didn't water down the content. She gave you everything that Roheen gave her. In the free program, it was almost there. Again, she's another skater that I'm hoping delivers that clean free dance at the World's Trophy because it was almost there. You could tell that this free dance expanded her. It made her grow as a skater. And again, this is why I cannot stop saying longevity in skating is key. If you remember Kaori when she made her debut at the Olympic and you look at the Kaori we have now, if she had not had the chance to have 2 Olympic cycles, we would never see this Kaori. That is what longevity in sport, that is what health means. You get to see a skater grow. You get invested in the skaters. You don't get winners. You get champion. Champion is what makes a sport grow. It's what makes it popular. It's what leads fans to invest in it. Champion. And what you have in Kaori is a champion. Not because she wins all the time. No, because we get to be there in her highs, in her lows. We see her all the way down. We cheer for her to pick herself up, and we are elated when she wins. That is what it means to be a champion. We have the time to grow with the skater, and they become a full fleshed out human being to us. We can invest in them. That is what longevity in any sport means, and that is what we had been missing in figure skating in the past decade. That is why figure skating was dying. That is what I wish more than anything else in the world to bring back to figure skating. Champions. I do not want winners. I do not want disposable skaters. I do not want to see young skaters that are so talented and be terrified that they are not going to be around next season. I want to know that these skaters will grow with me. I can be there for them when they're at their low, supporting them, and I could cheer for them when they're at their high. I want figure skating to have champion. And that is why I was so glad to see Miss Kaori Sakamoto 2 times back-to-back world champion. Way to go, Kaori, and to do it on home ice again. I don't think we can even begin to imagine the kind of pressure these skaters from the Japanese Federation were facing. But they all did what they had to do. It wasn't perfect here for Kaori. That's why she didn't win the free. But she did what she could. She saved what she could, and more importantly, she fought. What I saw at this world were skaters who sometimes gave up. Kaori was not one of those skaters. She fought for every point, and that is why she is the champion. Guys, I enjoyed Worlds so much. I honestly cannot remember the last time I enjoyed Worlds this much. I feel like the post-Olympic Worlds, I was still tainted by the whole nightmare of Beijing, that I watched World for the sake of watching it, but I wasn't fully invested in it. My spirit was too dark. My emotions were too dark. I was just too hurt about everything that had happened. But this cycle, there was a cleansing, there was a purity, there was a goodness to it, and I enjoyed the entire season from start to finish, and it just felt like Worlds was a reward to us. I don't know about anybody else, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but I personally would love to have a few more Worlds just like this. Take that as you will. I would like to have a few more Worlds just like this.